And we're live? All right. Well, so happy to be here.
Atelier Residences Miami. It is a 148 unit bespoke boutique luxury building at the heart of Miami. So we're at the crossroads of the Coral Way, where Coral Way meets the roads. It is what I think is going to be the next big neighborhood in Miami. So really excited about today and to share that vision with you guys and talk a little bit more about Atelier.
I think the name itself is already interesting. So why don't you tell us where the name came from and the inspiration behind it?
Sure. So Atelier stands for workshop, and it's a French word. And when we first conceived of the building, we were thinking of ways to really create an impact in the community. And so when we looked at other past projects that I've worked on, there's a lot of bells and whistles to projects. Whereas for Atelier, we really wanted to focus on what makes the most impact to not only the community, but to the buyers, the people who come visit this space, and also get a real big bang for your buck without having to really spend too much, as Miami's become a bit more expensive, and quite frankly, affordability is something that we really wanted to give back to the community.
If we were to talk about fixing a problem, as far as a product, what problem would you say Atelier is coming to fix in the city as far as rentals and demand and all that?
There's a few I can think of. I guess I'll start with the low-hanging fruit, right? The short term, I think, is a big product that we're seeing. A lot of inventory come up in the short-term rental space, in the branded residential space. And so in the past, the way it's been done, you're really used to a system that doesn't work, where you're buying into a condo, but the condo then carries with it so many expenses, extra expenses, management fees, franchise fees. You're in contracts for such a long time, and we realize that system inherently just does not work. And so what we're looking at doing is really becoming the disruptor in the space, right? We're looking at how short-term rental can be revisioned and reimagined. And what we're doing different with our short-term rental in Atelier is we're really giving back the power to the owners. We're empowering them to allow them to use the unit whenever they want to pull it into a rental pool without having excess expenses that come with ownership. And also we're plugging in what we believe is going to be one of the most exciting parts of Atelier, which is our health and wellness component, which is health and wellness is everything, right? We all know that without it, there's really not much else. And so that's what we're bringing to the table as a differentiator, and also disrupting the space in that short-term rental, the way that we've always conceived them, whether it's branded residential or condo hotels, another word that's typically used. We're seeing that there's opportunity there really to create not only a product or a property that you can use, but also that your family can use, that will create that generational wealth that most buyers today, there's a bit of a gap between affordability. And so that's what we're targeting with our project in Atelier. So it's a series of workshops. That's what it stands for. And we think that this exciting new product is really going to be something that's going to spark the start of the brand new neighborhood here in Miami.
It goes amazing with the art scene that Miami's been attracting in the last years and became one of the most important places for art. So what about the location? I think it's extremely interesting, the locations you chose, because as a pre-construction leader for Avanti Way Realtor, we know pretty much all the projects in the city, and you're in a unique area. You chose, there's nothing around like that. Or tell us about how hard it was to find the place, the area, and why that area.
Well, you know what they say in real estate, it's location, location, location. And so with us, we have the advantage of being so close to everything. I mean, you're 3 minutes away from Brickell, 5 minutes away from Coral Gables, Coconut Grove. You're, 10 minutes away from the beaches. The closest beach is actually Key Biscayne Beach, which people don't realize. You can walk from our property through these beautiful covered mangroves and covered foliage. The walkability is unlike any other. We're close to a metro station. We're 10 minutes away from the airport. I mean, we really have everything that you're looking for when you're looking to purchase in Miami. You want, something that's close to everything, that is still, maybe not in the mix of it all, like Brickell or downtown. Not everyone wants to be in a high rise with 400, 500 units around you. And so with Atelier, we have this really boutique-like feel, but we're not lacking in any way, shape, or form with our finishes. And I think that that's really what's going to drive the product at the end of the day. The location, of course, is bar none. And I think that also the accessibility to this location is great. How did we come across the project? Well, it was one that I used to live right in the neighborhood. So I used to live 2 blocks away. I walked every single day with my dogs. I have 2 Frenchies. And so we would walk every afternoon because it's hot in Miami. But we walk around the neighborhood and we would see activity in the neighborhood. We would see the potential. And look, Coral Way hasn't seen development in the last 10, 15 years. And so we're excited because we're going to plug in an exciting product into Coral Way. And we're also bringing in that sense of community with what we're building. We're really excited about that. I'll get into more when it comes to Kaya as well. I think there's a ton of stuff there that we're excited to share about today.
Great. So what does it feel like to live in that area? Like, what's the vibe like?
Well, it's that bohemian look that the look and feel that you're looking for. I think that it's charming in the sense that it's walkable everywhere. It's green. There's a ton of vegetation everywhere. It's not the busy, city center, Brickell City Center. It's not the downtowns. So you don't expect a ton of hustle and bustle, but I think that's what makes it charming, right? The ability that you can walk anywhere and it feels, like if you're walking in any major city and you're so well connected to everything. You're, like I said, minutes away from the nearest beach. So think of the most picturesque sunsets. You have, sweeping views from the building. We have water views, and then on our north side we have, city views. So it's a 10-story high-rise in the middle of really what I like to call 5 Points. And 5 Points was traditionally known as the place where Miami splits into 5 different directions. You're, just 5 minutes south of Little Havana, which is also a very big cultural epicenter. You're, 10 minutes, 15 minutes at most from Wynwood, which is the arts cultural center. So, I mean, the thing that attracted me most to this location was the accessibility, right? We don't want to necessarily be in the heart of it all. We don't necessarily need to be, like I said, in these 30, 40, 50 story high rises. You can get a more boutique feeling for such a great location. And that's the product that we're offering. We're really excited about it.
Yeah, I think you've found a very unique spot because accessibility, you could say that there's a lot of areas in Miami where you can have access to good roads and all that. But Atelier is going to be, it's going to be accessible from all the main highways and all the main roads, but it feels exclusive. It feels quiet. And what I love about it is that I don't think a lot of people know about that area. I don't think all the international buyers, which makes up the majority of the investments in Miami, I don't think most of them know about Coral Way. I personally have great friends that own a restaurant, a Venezuelan restaurant, Doggies, in Coral Way.
Yeah, they're our neighbor.
They've been there forever.
Right across the street from us.
Oh yeah. Okay, great. So buyers are going to be able to eat arepas, no problem?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Arepas, burgers. We're going to have a ground floor restaurant that's going to service the units. And we're excited about that. It's really looking at how do we retool a hotel, right? So think of all the amenities that you would find in a hotel. Large pool, ground floor restaurant, the services like valet, turnover services for the units. Some of these will be a la carte, of course, and then some will come with the unit ownership. I think if anyone could talk a bit more about that, it's probably Angie, because she's I know she's been waiting to jump in and talk a little bit about Atelier.
So yeah, we have a lot of amenities. We count with 15,000 square feet of resort style amenities. They're completely amazing. They're going to be divided between your 4th floor, your 3rd floor, and your lobby. On our 4th floor, you can find our pool with daybeds, cabanas, food and beverage service, water station, towels, absolutely everything that you need to have a very relaxing day by the pool. plus 2 types of views, your north views and your south views. You're going to have your north views that are going to be focusing in all the Brickell area. So you're going to have some buildings, some lights at night, and all the residential area, of course, that there's no obstructive views, which also makes us very special. As of course, there's no competition either in the area. That's really important too. It's also a no flood zone. Then you're going to have your south views with some water. You have some streets, some residential as well. So a lot of single family homes, no obstructive views. That is incredible. Then we're also going to have our gym. We're currently working on a huge partnership. I'm not going to name it right now. This is a surprise. We have our wellness center with spa, steam room, meditation area, yoga, absolutely everything that you can imagine. We have it just like a hotel, but even better because you can even use it for yourself. So it's not a unit that you're going to constantly put on the market. Let's say if you're an owner, you can use it. You want to stay for 6 months, you can absolutely do that as well. So that is great. We're going to have a restaurant in the ground floor. On our 3rd floor, we're going to have Kaya Members Club, that it stands for Come As You Are, and this is an homage to the Vizcaya Museum. Phenomenal members club. As you know, this is very trendy nowadays in Miami. So basically, it's going to be only obviously for members. It's going to be for free for the first year because we're giving it as a courtesy. You're going to have members-only events and activations, restaurant, lounge, bar, very, very complete, and a lot more.
Awesome. Yeah, that is interesting. Kaya?
Kaya, Caya.
Tell me more about that.
So it's like, have you seen CZ's Club, Mila Lounge, all those clubs that are super trendy nowadays in Miami? Same concept. So basically you're going to have access to all the lounge, bar area, only with a membership. So anybody that wants to be part, we obviously have a limit of people. It's not unlimited amount of guests that can have this membership. But if you have it, you will have access. And for the first year, like I was saying, it's going to be as a courtesy for the owners. And then for the second year, would have to be like $2,500 a year approximately.
Yeah, and we're excited about Kaya because it's a new offering in the Miami market. So we're following a lot of trends, right? We're seeing that health and wellness is one of the biggest trends right now that's continuing to grow. It's an industry that's grown from tens of billions to now over $15 billion. And we think that it's going to continue to grow. And where does Miami fall in all of this? Well, we're one of the lead capitals for health and wellness in all the U.S. So we have some of the healthiest streets. We have some of the healthiest people. I mean, go outside, you'll see we have some of the most beautiful people in Miami. And so with Kaya, we figured, how can we really focus on what's most important for everyone, which is health and wellness, right? Health is a new wealth, right? Yeah. And so what we wanted to do is we wanted to offer it for our buyers. So immediately, 148 units, 148 members. And then from there, we want to do a limited release to the public. And that's really bringing in some of our social and wellness trend influencers and, folks that are just specializing in these subsets of the business. And for us, it's about really tapping into not only the technology that's available in Miami as a tech hub, but also really tapping into some of these trends like health and wellness. With every single membership, you can anticipate that you'll have, things such as, nutritional IV therapy, red light, cold and hot plunge, things of the sorts that really the people are seeing there's a kind of a longevity and rejuvenation plan to. In some cases, we will also offer for the ladies, baby Botox, light injectables, fillers. These are the trends that we're seeing. The beautification and the trends are going to continue going. And who doesn't want to come down to Miami? Whether you're an owner, whether you're a guest, and maybe you're sitting by the pool one day, maybe the next day you're doing red light therapy, or you're doing a hot yoga session in the building, or maybe you're doing a personalized training because you wanted to focus on your dietary restrictions and coaching. These are all the components that we look at for a social members club. It's not about, partying and late nights. It's also about, the day after, the empowering of the day after. And that's, how do we recharge? How do we reconnect? How do we really get back to being healthy and, well within ourselves? And so we think that these types of trends will continue in Miami. We want to definitely be some of the kind of disruptors in the space and really pushing forward what we believe is going to be the next big trend in amenities, right? It's not about all the flash and glitz and glamour, and we don't have elevators in our, car elevators in our building. We're really focusing more so on that community component, which is Kaya. So excited about that. And like Angie said, it's an homage to Vizcaya, which is just down the street from us, actually. You can walk to Vizcaya, which, when anyone ever comes to Miami, it's the first place I take them. I don't take them to South Beach. I'm not going to take you to a restaurant. I'm not going to take you to our, Wynwood and all the other. I want to take you to where it all started, where Miami actually really started, and that was in Vizcaya, which in the 1920s, it's a beautiful property. It's really bespoke and of its own kind, and I always welcome people to go there. And then that's kind of the essence. That's the culture that we're trying to imbue into our building.
We'll jump back into the project with Angie so she can tell us more. But I want to ask you, since you're talking about history in Vizcaya, are you from Miami?
I'm basically Miami. So I'm originally from Colombia. I'm from Cartagena, Colombia. I was born in Cartagena, but then we moved to the U.S. When I was very young, and so I lived in New York for a while in Long Beach. I always say Long Beach, New York is much colder than the city. And then we moved down here in the 90s. We moved down here, and we've lived in South Florida for quite some time.
And how did you get involved with developing real estate?
So my career, I always like to say, is it's like a triathlon of real estate. I started as an architect. I went to the University of Florida, studied for my bachelor's degree in architecture. Shortly thereafter, it was the middle of the recession. You could barely get a job anywhere, especially in architecture. No one was building back in those days. And so, I came back to Miami, started a design build shop, ended up going into working for Bermeo Ajamil, an architecture firm that focuses mostly on, maritime and infrastructure projects. So really got a chance to, dive in hands-on to the build-outs of the ports of Miami, the new ones for the cruise ships. So think of, Norwegian Cruise Lines, Royal Caribbean, and a number of ports up in Fort Lauderdale. And from there, I moved into construction. So that was the second portion of the triathlon. I moved into construction, working for a company, Plaza Construction. And at the time, we were building Paraíso District right on Edgewater. So it's a series of 4 towers, over 2,000 units that were delivered for the Related Group. And then from there, I moved into real estate development over at Royal Palm Companies, where I worked hands-on in bringing to market the Paramount Miami World Center, the under construction Legacy Miami World Center, and also a number of projects in the Caribbean. So, like I said, it's like a triathlon. I've gone from architecture to construction to real estate development. And so it all culminates here. It's really been what we've learned over the years, having worked in high profile projects, having worked also a lot in the luxury sector. We're bringing really all the best trades and tools together and delivering a project that we think is going to be quite remarkable.
I mean, not only triathlon, an Ironman, because if you think about it, you're involved with huge projects so Paramount and Miami World Center. So now you're doing something a little bit more boutique. So tell us why did you decide to go into something much smaller? Are you alone now? Is this your own project?
Yeah.
I guess you have partners in private projects now. So what's going on?
So we launched Building Ventures, which is our real estate development and investment firm, in 2020. And it first started up as a kind of a small startup, doing side projects, trying to, help as a consultant. And as we rolled on, we really saw that there was a need for kind of the next generation of developers. And that's where we really wanted to put our foot, into the game, or throw our towel into the ring. And in the sense that, we're looking to develop for the next generation. We learned a lot from the experiences of having built, Paramounts of the world, and With Paramount, it was unique because it was a highly amenitized building. It was launched in the doldrums of a recession a pandemic. Recession at the time. Then later, pandemic. Yeah,
Everything.
so it hasn't been, as you know, it hasn't been easy, but Miami's been a very resilient market. And so through all that adversity, what you do is you learn. You learn how to reuse, retool, and then replenish. And so fast forward to 2025, here we got, well, really a few years ago, 2023 is really when we started to work on Atelier. And what people don't understand is that real estate development is a long game, right? We're in it for the long term, sometimes 10, 15 year increments. And so we got an opportunity to bring to market something that's unique, that will be our flagship really brand, which is Atelier Residences. And then from there, we want to branch into other portions of the luxury sector. But first, the first and foremost is going to be the focus on Atelier.
You said you mentioned a word, resilience, right? Resilience, that's how you say it. Yeah. Why do you think made Miami so resilient?
Well, that's a great question because Miami has always been, adverse to whether it's tropical climates or to political instability. It's always been known as a boom and bust town, right? And so for many years, everyone focused on Miami being the place where you go vacation, spring break, Memorial Day weekend, Labor Day weekend, you go down there with the family and you vacation. But what people don't understand is that, Miami is actually now coming to become a global city on the global stage. It's funny, it's an interesting fact. We've been tracking these data points since 2018. And back then, in 2018, pre-pandemic, the stat was there was about 1,000 people net positive moving into the state of Florida. And they were moving for all different types of reasons, for economic reasons, for tax reasons, for weather reasons as well. Some folks were coming down, and we were kind of seeing these hotspots. First, you have the I-95 corridor that travels, from New York all the way in the tri-state area, all the way down to the tri-county area down here, which is West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, or Broward, and Miami. And Miami's always been the biggest benefactor of that net migration of wealth and talent moving down the eastern corridor. Then we saw that if you take a look at other pockets like the Midwest, you start to see that there's a number of folks that are coming from the Champaign, Illinois area, the Chicagos of the world, and they move down the I-75 corridor. What's funny is that they do it because it's almost like muscle memory. Back in the day when the older generation, we call them the boomers, and no offense to any of them, I love you guys. My parents are boomers. And so the older generation, their parents used to put them in the car and you would drive down south for the holidays. And so that's what they started to do as well with their kids. The folks from Chicago moved down to I-75, and now some mostly are coming down, like we saw with Citadel, Ken Griffin, moving his whole entire outfit of over 1,000 people down to South Florida. And he did it for a number of reasons. Obviously there's the wealth migration component, the tax component, but there was also, during pandemic, we saw that there was almost like a cultural enlightenment going on in Miami. It was like a renaissance of sorts where you're starting to see everyone and anyone who said, hey, I can work remotely. I can come to Miami. I can have a great lifestyle, right? Very healthy. You're outdoors all day. You're in the sun. You have beaches. You have parks. You have green space. We saw those trends. So going back to it, so that was 2018 when we saw those trends. If you look fast forward, the state of Florida is gaining over 2,000 people every day. Correct. Over 2,000 people. And where are they mostly coming to? Miami.
Yeah.
They're coming down to Miami. They're coming to West Palm Beach as well. They see opportunity here. And we still see a tremendous amount of opportunity, not only from the folks who are coming down, but also from the young, cultural shifts and changes that we're seeing here. There's a lot of creatives here. We're seeing a boom in the tech space as well. Microsoft just opened up an HQ. Apple just did one of their, most prolific, probably I think it was called the biophilic stores in the heart of World Center. And World Center is a 16-acre redevelopment, the second largest in the U.S., only to Hudson Yards at a time. So you're seeing this renaissance going on in Miami. And that's why now on a global stage, you're seeing a ton of interest from folks from everywhere. I mean, just earlier today, we were getting, Angie closed on a buyer from France, and, she's been she's an animal, by the way, this one. She is awesome. She's incredible because she's looking at it from not only, the product side, right? She's also looking at it from, like we said, the community side, which is what can we give back to our community of buyers or investors, of people who come to travel and visit the space.
French are not, they're not easy. They're pretty picky. So if they chose Atelier, yeah, there's got to be a reason besides the name.
It's a very sophisticated product, I will say.
Yeah. But it's interesting because I love what you said. Miami was famous for being some sort of like the Monaco of South America and all that. And everything we can see from right now from the skyline, it was all pretty much from Latin America and all this. Now, for the first time ever, we have the American wealth coming down. So I can only imagine what's going to be like in the next 10 years. And I know I don't want to sound like I'm trying to sell. But it's true. You said there's about 2,000 people moving to Florida every day. Now look at the inventory. We have an inventory problem.
Absolutely.
People might think that there might be a bubble or something, but calm down and I'll show you. Tell me what you're looking for, and I promise you're going to have a hard time finding it, because people know what's coming. People are kind of smelling what, with all this growth, like Citadel. For those who don't know what Citadel is, it's one of the largest investment funds in the world. That's right. And they moved from Chicago to Miami a couple of years ago. And while they're renting a property with Microsoft as neighbors, and they're building a $1 billion condo building for their offices in the near future. So.
And by the way, here's another thing that people don't think of. For every one Citadel guy, there's got to be 5 to 10 other people, right? Because these guys have services they need. They have drivers, chauffeurs, cleaning staff. So what you're seeing is it's not just the wealthy migration, but then the working class around that.
Yes, their world.
It's still, you see that there's a very big increase in the working folks that are coming in as well and saying, hey, listen, there's a service to be provided for a lot of the capital that's coming down here. And then our LATAM buyers are stronger than ever because they're dealing with, their own political subset of problems. In some cases, we were just down in Colombia, where I'm from. We just had an event in Barranquilla, great turnout, tremendous turnout. And what we came to find was that our buyers are saying, listen, we want to dollarize our investment. Whether you're in a Argentine peso, Colombian peso, you're in different currencies. South America, unfortunately, is still dealing with a lot of pressures, both internal and external. And at the end of the day, we still see that the US dollar is the tried and true currency. Everyone wants to be in dollars. Yeah. And so to our LATAM buyers, we welcome them in. We tell them, hey, look, we're going to help you guys and make the buying process as easy as possible. It's not just about the product itself, but it's the experience in buying real estate. It's a very personalized experience. I think that's why Angie's had so much success, because, she really knows the product in and out, but also she guides you through the entire process. We have both languages, English and Spanish. We also have, Portuguese and French. Our team is diverse because we understand that this is really for the internationals and for the domestic. We have, buyers from Colorado, markets where we've always seen folks from South Florida moving to. Well, now they're saying, well, we want to move back because we see that there's a really a seismic shift going on in Miami. Mm-hmm. In our LATAM markets, we're offering financing available to our investors, and that's a very big plus. They're scratching their heads. They're thinking, okay, well, one thing is to invest my capital. How am I going to, how am I going to get the financing required? How am I going to get to closing? How do I get, the legal structure? These are all things that our team is working with directly with our buyers and also, third-party intermediaries that help facilitate that process to make it a lot easier. Buying real estate, especially in the U.S., is tough. It's already tough enough. So we wanted to make it as easy as possible. That's why we call it, hassle-free ownership.
Amazing. It's so let's go back to the project, to the product itself. Okay, so let's talk to Angie, the rock star here. So
You're giving me too much credit.
tell us what the common areas, how big of a square footage we have for common areas, stories. I know there's 148
So we have
units,
148 story. I'm sorry,
but
not
they're
stories.
distributed. But they're distributed in different
So you're gonna
townhouses.
have So you're gonna have 10 stories, 148 residences in total. In your main building, you're gonna have 144. And in the back part of the building, so in Coral Way, you have your main building. In the back street, you're gonna have those 4 townhouses. These townhouses are 3 bedrooms, 3 baths, 1,500 square feet, and they're running for $2 million in the center, $2,250,000 in the corners. There's only 4, and they're very, very exclusive. We just got those floor plans, and wow, and the renderings, phenomenal.
Wow,
Yeah.
only 4.
Clients
So
are
you're doing
loving
4
those.
townhouses. How many studios?
So you're gonna have 132 standard suites, which we call studios, also presidential suites and your lockouts. And then you're gonna have 12 one-bedrooms that we call them the junior suites. Remember, this is a hotel concept, so your units are gonna look just like hotel rooms, but larger and more complete. When I say more complete, I mean you're gonna have washer and dryer, your kitchens, absolutely everything that you need. All of our units come fully furnished, finished, and equipped also. When I say equipped, what do I mean? You're gonna have everything from your bed sheets to your towels, to your kitchen utensils, to your toiletries. And this is an incentive that we're currently given for the friends and family, because obviously we just launched in the month of November, so we're very, very new to the market. So right now the prices are spectacular, and of course our incentives as well.
Okay, so what phase are we on right now with the project?
So we just got into contract. We're starting contracts today. So this is very exciting too. We're going to do groundbreaking by May 2025. Let's say June, maybe. I don't want to say an exact date. It's new development, so those things can change. But for now, we're saying May, June. And then we're going to do a top off by mid 2026, and we're delivering in Q2 in 2027. Yeah.
Interesting. What else should we know about the building itself?
Our units are starting in 330 square feet for your lockouts, 360 for your standard suites. And you're going to have your juniors in 500 square feet, and then your presidentials 420. So they're all literally hotel rooms. They're really nice. You're going to have blackout roller shades, therapeutic beds, Wi-Fi, cable, absolutely everything that you need. The most important thing about this project to me, and which is the how we get all those buyers attracted to it, it's our rental program, like Renee was mentioning previously. So basically, our rental program is going to be managed by First Service Residential, which is a very well-known company across the United States. And they're going to be managing ours from A to Z for no fees and no splits, in comparison to your traditional condo hotel model that they usually charge you a 20, 30, 40, even 50% of your rental revenue, which is, listen, for some people it works, but
Wow, so this is included with
it's included in your HOAs. 90% of rental revenue is going to go to the condo owners. Why 90 and not 100? Of course, because it's in those HOAs. And we're going to be directly operating with Airbnb, VRBO, Booking.com, all these platforms that also do have a charge for the use of platform. So even if you use the platform with Pepito's company or you do it on your own, they will charge you. That's independent.
Right. But they're able, whoever buys are able to choose their own operator if they want to.
Correct. You're not obligated to use ours, but it's included in your HOA, so you might as well.
Might as well. Yeah. We're gonna get a lot of efficiencies, and it's always a good question to ask: is can you self-manage these? Yes, you can absolutely self-manage it, but you won't get the convenience of knowing that, hey, if you have an HOA that's responsible, remember that the HOA responds to the owners. And that's what we talked about, giving the power back to the owner. There's no third party, there's no franchising agreement, there's no licensing agreement that locks you in for 10, 20, 30 years with some of these companies that, they give you a 1-800 toll number to call whenever you have an issue.
It's pretty unique. It's normally delegated to a third party. So yours is included with the HOA, which is, it's controlled by the owners. That's pretty unique.
Yes.
So it's a short-term rental building. Is there any restrictions at all?
No restrictions whatsoever. If the owner wants to use it for 2 months, they may, 3 months, a year, fantastic. You can do that. Obviously, you cannot register it as homestead, but you can use it and you can put it on the market. There's no rental restrictions if you want to rent it daily, monthly, whatever you want to do.
Okay. What else should we talk about now? We've covered pretty good portion of the project, the area, developer. Because I know in today's market, a lot of people worry about developers' credibility, and you certainly have all that background, and very exciting. How do you feel being alone now? Now with your own project.
Oh, it's exciting. I mean, it's almost a culmination of a career, right? By no means is this, the one and done for us. We're excited about opening other Atelier locations. We're looking at other locations like Miami Beach, and then of the coast, as well as like Broward and West Palm. We know that the branded residential sector is one that's going to continue to grow. We've been watching and spotting these trends for quite some time now. That's why we see that there's been a proliferation of the major brands such as Aston Martin, Dolce & Gabbana is coming out, another one, Mercedes-Benz. Yeah. What's interesting about this all is that you're seeing that all these buildings are coming out. They're a lot copy-paste. It's the same nice glitzy picture, the nice rendering, and all the bells and whistles on the amenities. We wanted to take a different approach. We wanted to make it approachable luxury, which is, I think, a very key subsector, right? When you're looking at, what's available to market right now, the majority of these units are north of $1 million, right? $1 million, $1.2 million to just to buy something in Miami. Whereas with Atelier, we came with a lower price point. We're not shy with the finishes. I mean, the renderings are incredible, and what I'm known for is really delivering on that image and delivering on that vision. So we wanted to make sure that every single thing that we present to our teams and to our buyers is exactly what they should anticipate. We worked with the best third-party vendors in the market space to achieve a lower cost price point. We're also working directly with the HOA, with First Service Residential, which is, again, a massive management company. They have been for quite some time, well known in the U.S. and I believe in Canada as well. And so, and they're also publicly traded, which just goes to the kind of the blue chip factor, right? For us, we wanted to make sure that we had that check mark when you're looking at an Atelier product, that it's underwritten the right way, that it looks the right way, that it feels the right way, and that it's not going to cost you a fortune. So yeah, we're extremely excited about this first Atelier and many more, and we've got some really exciting news to share with you guys very soon about some of the partnerships, about some of the activations, about some of the other amenities that we're going to look to add into the space as well. We won't share all of it today, but
okay, I'm not excited that special.
About that. No, of course you will.
Yeah. I will be very soon, I promise you. Now, for those who are not familiar with pre-construction, with buying pre-construction, because it's a little bit different than buying resale and buying a regular property, right? So what do you think, what would you say are some of the benefits of buying pre-construction?
Well, the first benefit's going to be you're going to get the lowest price point, so you're going to get the bang for your buck. The way that we look at Atelier, it's really a property. Some folks will look at it as an investment property. Some will look at it as a pied-à-terre, so they have a place to stay, a secondary home, a tertiary home. And so when we take a look at what we wanted to bring to market with Atelier. We wanted to make sure that we tied on all the pain points that everyone's looking for, but at the end of the day, that we're not looking to dilute on the product, because I think the product needs to be right. It needs to be the right fit. Really, that was kind of the focus there, is to make sure that we got all the right fits and bells and whistles without overdoing it. Right? We really do believe that less is more. And by the way, the amenities package that we're bringing to market, I think, is very, very good.
Very.
If it's a really great, bang for your buck.
Yeah, I can hear from everything you said.
Very complete.
I think some of the benefits are also the fact that you only pay a deposit, then you wait a little longer, and then you give another deposit.
Yeah. So
what's that payment structure?
So payment structure is 20% at contract, 20% at groundbreaking, and then 10% at top off. So it's a 50% deposit. But keep in mind that the price points are $400,000 and starting at $400,000. So at 50%, we're really talking about $200,000 in deposits. The location, and because you asked me what's the perks of pre-construction, you're buying at the lowest price point with the highest achievable gain in the asset, right? Meaning the valuation of that actual property should effectively go up, because you're buying it off of plans.
Lowest possible, right.
Yeah, the lowest possible price. You're buying it at the developer base cost. And so what we're seeing is that, especially with these units that are priced at $400,000 in the roads on Coral Way, those are going to go. They're going to increase in value by the time that we deliver. We feel very strongly about that. We can't promise that, of course, but we think that it's inherent in our location, the price point, and also what our product offering is.
If you look at the 20-year-old price per square foot reaction graph, speaks by itself, which I will put in my video.
Well, listen, I remember when we were selling, World Center, we were in the price point then. You would talk about condos in the $800 per square foot, and that was outrageous. That was expensive. I think Brickell now, the base is at $1,600.
Yeah.
In some cases, depending on what product, whether it's a Dolce & Gabbana or Mercedes-Benz place, some of these, they're a higher price point. And I think that for us is also a great sales point for us, is that our price points are low, right? We're really in the 1200s, and depending on the unit, you could get down to the 1100s per square foot.
Okay.
So that's how we get to, $400,000 for a unit, which, it's very competitive.
It is. I love about pre-construction that you get warranties.
Yes.
Something you don't get when you buy resale.
Yes.
Warranty on the unit itself.
On the unit, the appliances, the cabinetry, the technology applications as well, the HVAC systems, dishwasher systems, all those, like we said, bells and whistles, they come with warranties as well. And that's, I think, kind of makes it just a bit easier for the owner, in that sense that it's hassle-free. Yeah, peace of mind, exactly. So we wanted to make sure that, obviously we're using high-end quality finishes and appliances as well. So we're excited about that.
Yeah. I love the warranties. Are they going to be able to maybe reconfigure some of the units? Or, some projects are good for that. Some projects are maybe not set up for that. So that's why I ask.
Yeah, there's going to be a limit on how much reconfiguration we want to get to, because at the end of the day, we wanted to make sure that there's QA, QC, quality assurance and quality control. And what I mean by that is, how many times have you not gone on one of these short-term rental applications, bookings or an Airbnb or any of these guys, and you see a beautiful picture on your phone, and then you say, okay, that's where we're going to stay, and you open a door and it's nothing like the photo.
Absolutely.
Right?
It happens a lot.
It happens so much. It happens often. And so what we wanted to do is we wanted to avoid that, right? We want to make sure that what you see is what you get. You know,
Yeah.
the only difference may be the views. We're gonna have water views to the south, so you see the beautiful bay, all of Key Biscayne. You'll see also Coconut Grove,
Yeah.
and then to the north you have city views of Brickell downtown and all of Miami. Beautiful sunsets.
Spectacular views,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. And something interesting about buying pre-construction again is the minute you get your foot in the door with your first deposit, and well, not to mention that 50% you mentioned, it's throughout 2 years or whatever it takes to finish a project. So it's not like it's 50% at once.
Right.
And what I love about that is throughout that time, you're
building appreciation
without paying
Yeah.
cost.
Absolutely.
I mean, think about it. You're just doing nothing. You're not paying anything.
No carrying costs,
Not
no
carrying costs.
insurance. You're not paying any
Taxes. Not yet.
Really, no, not yet. You're actually appreciating that capital, and so that was one of the biggest things for our Latin buyers.
Yeah.
They say, listen, we know that our currency, if you look at any Latin peso against the U.S. dollar, you know, it's doing one of these.
Yeah.
And so they're facing inflation, just like everyone, but they're also facing, you know, depreciation to the U.S. dollar.
Very hard.
And so when we talk to our Latin buyers, or even our, you know, European buyers as well, Canadian buyers, Mexican buyers, they're all saying the same thing. We want to be in dollars. We want to make sure that once we convert from our currency to US dollar to buy real estate, which, by the way, 90% of all millionaires were made through real estate. It's the most tried and true way to achieve, wealth and actually build your wealth is through real estate. And so a lot of folks in LATAM, they look at their patrimonio, right? They're looking at, what's left for our family and what's the nest egg for our family's family and so on and so forth. And so when we talk to them, we say, hey guys, you're going to dollarize your investment. Not only are you going to convert from your currency, now you're going to be in dollars, but then that investment is going to hopefully, return US dollars, which is a hedge against any other currency that you're going to be exposed to.
I've had clients that they're happy even without returns. It's just
right.
The parking returns is almost like extra. Like as long as I'm in dollars and I'm set up for appreciation in the future, they're happy. On top of that, they get a nice return, which I'm pretty sure this building is going to provide amazing returns.
We can't talk about details of that.
No.
But
I said, yeah. Did I say returns?
No, but to speak a little bit about that, when we looked at how we underwrote the model, we know that things like ROI and ROIC are important to investors, right? Whether they're accredited or not. Everyone wants to know that their investment's going to do well, right? And so when we underwrote the deal, we said, how do we make sure that we get the most revenue back into our owners' pockets? That's how we got rid of all the third parties. We got rid of all the franchising and licensing. We don't believe in these long drawn out contracts for 10, 20, 30 years with brands that you don't even know if they're going to be around, right? And so by empowering our owners that way, we're effectively, making sure that we're going to give the best return on their capital for their investment, as well as the most amount of revenue possible back to their pockets.
Great. Do you have some questions?
I mean, I think Renee covered everything.
I'm so sorry.
No.
This portion right here, outtake. I'm sorry that I was talking so much.
That's part of the plan. That was part of my plan, at least. I love it. What are some of your favorite areas in Miami? Favorite restaurant? Where do you go when you're on?
So my favorite area by default is going to be the roads. Not only because Atelier is going to be there, but because it's honest. I think it's the best bang for your buck. You're so close to everything.
Mm-hmm.
As far as restaurant and nightlife, I've taken a step back from that as a real estate developer. My focus is a little bit more on our project and our mission goals for the company. But if I had to recommend a restaurant, I say go local, somewhere nearby. Doggies has really good, good
they're great.
arepas.
I know.
And I love a good breakfast. So La Boulangerie, just across the street from us, is one of the best bakeries. It's French bakery, which I highly recommend. And then just two steps over from us is Chevre Miami, which is a gourmet wine and cheese. Incredible. The owner's a good friend of mine, and incredible tasting. We're gonna do some really fun events there.
Yeah, and Key Biscayne is right there. So I like riding bikes, and sometimes I go over that area, and it's just an incredible scene to see everybody just healthy, beautiful, working out at any day, any time of the day. So
that's right.
I think you're great. You're in a great location, like you mentioned. So on my end, I'm so grateful for being here. Thank you guys for having me. I hope to translate. So I hope I can translate this magic to all my agents that are on TWA that are also interested in knowing more about your projects and present it to their clients. Since you're keeping everything in secret, so you have us suffering. No, I'm kidding.
No, you know what? This has been fantastic. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And if you guys want to reach us, please feel free to reach Angie. She is incredible. She'll make sure that the entire process is as smooth and as effective as possible. And then, of course, whenever she, needs me, I'm always available. I make myself available to just about anyone. So happy to do so.
He always is. So whenever you want to get a presentation for your offices, for your clients, you can just reach out to me directly.
We will.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.